Hi there, this is Mark Solari of Wellness Haven. It's a pleasure to share with you some research that I've done and actually practiced with regards to both fat loss and detoxification. It's that time of year in the beginning of the year that we have our New Year's resolutions around health. Many of us have resolutions related to weight loss, translated fat loss, and as well living a healthier life with regards to the ability to detoxify. The most pernicious toxins that we have in our environment are those that are fat soluble, and guess what? They happen to be sequestered in our extra fat. So when we are able to lose the fat, we are also able to lose some of the toxic burden that we carry in some of the most difficult to lose cells in our body, right? So how is it that we can go about doing this? Well, we can watch our diet, calorie count, restrict our calories, engage in intermittent fasting and or full fasting. I personally believe in the intermittent fasting as an effective means, right? We can also increase the time that we spend exercising, of course, on the other side of the equation, calories in, calories out, so we can increase calories out. However, I found that the work of Dr. Jack Kruse with regards to thermogenesis is probably the easiest, although psychologically the most difficult to embrace means to lose fat. What do I mean by psychologically difficult to embrace? Because Dr. Jack Kruse had found out that metabolically speaking, the reason that we gain fat or hold fat in our cells has very little to do with storing excess calories in times of calorie deprived situations, but much more metabolically having to do with thermogenesis, which is basically the metabolic act of keeping our warm blood warm. So in exposure to cold is when we most effectively burn fat. So how is it that we can most effectively expose ourselves to cold? Well, we can stand outside on a cold wintry day and try to expose our skin to the air. However, cold water, that's it, baby. So what does his research show us? That those who can immerse themselves in cold water for a period of 10 minutes a day create a trigger to the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, which is our metabolic switch for fat burning. And it says burn the fat in order to stay warm. So we really have to feel that cold in order to burn fat effectively. And the water has to be ideally 50 degrees Fahrenheit or lower in order to be effective. That's about 10 degrees Celsius. So I'm standing outside. I'm fortunate to have an environment in which I am able to enjoy cold water in my backyard. So you can see, for example, here in my little pond, there's still a water feature, there's still ice. I have a stream behind me where I can immerse myself up to my chest, and for those minutes that I'm in there, burn fat effectively. So a couple of things that you can do in terms of tips. Number one, research Wim Hof, who's colloquially known as Iceman, with regards to breathing exercises that help one withstand the rigors of cold. So I've actually done a few Wim Hof breathing techniques prior to walking outside, and that's important. Secondly, when we enter, we want to psychologically embrace and or ease ourselves into the process. I know so many of my friends tell me, it's insane what you're doing, Mark, crawling into water that is, in this particular case, 38 degrees cold, right? Well, here I am getting into the stream. I'm going to immerse myself up to my basically chest, right? And sit here in the cold water because I'm not trying to resist, if you will. Yes, it's not that pleasant. It's not that warm, obviously. It is a bit of a shock, but if we can ease ourselves into the process, that's great. Also, don't try to commit right off the bat into a full 10-minute session. You will fail. It's too much of a shock. So what I do is to increase by 30-second increments the time that I spend between sessions until I get to the point for about 10 minutes Dr. Jack Kruse recommends 15 minutes, but I personally have had great gains with just basically as long as I can tolerate. So for me, the limit's 6 to 8 minutes. I'm doing really well in this temperature if I can actually do it for 5 minutes. Okay, so just to summarize, if you want to lose fat effectively, it's exposure to cold. It's not as bad as you think it is. I would much rather spend the 5 minutes in this cold stream than to add an additional hour trying to work out and or count every single calorie. I find the stress personally related to that process a lot more than just breathing, being out in nature or in a cold bathtub, and embracing the cold as a means to not only lose my fat, but also detoxify. I hope you too can join me in this journey and feel invigorated and healthy afterwards as well. Oh, by the way, the endorphin hit that you get in the process is just amazing. Walking out of this cold stream, it makes me feel like I'm on a high for at least a half an hour. And of course, the commensurate fat loss, well, I can't complain. So good luck, and if you have any questions, let me know. I can send you links to the referenced material that I'm talking about, and happy fat loss. Bye.